Welcome to episode 11 of the Jeff and Jersey podcast.
We do reactions and post-game analysis of the NBA.
I am Jersey.
I'm Jeff.
And I first wanted to start off by saying that we're glad to be back. We took like a week off because of Thanksgiving. We're not feeling all that great. Getting an extra rest. We have finals week coming up next week since we're college students. And so we apologize for no upload on Monday, but just things happen. Life happens.
Yep.
You get busy.
We're getting back to it.
Yeah, we watched a lot of NBA this weekend, obviously with Thanksgiving break. This weekend as in like 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah.
Didn't really have much else to do. Study, relax.
Yep.
Got kind of sick, so I just been sitting around. But first thing we have on our agenda is the players of the week, and that's Devin Booker in the West. He's just unreal. 30 points. He got back to like we were kind of confused to start the year.
Yeah.
With his shooting percentage.
And then he put up 50, 50, 90 in the week, which is ridiculous.
You can tell he's back in a groove. And obviously the Suns look now what they looked like in April last year. You know, like when they really started to pick it up and you're like, wow, they're going to be a 1 or 2 seed.
Yeah.
Like that's what the Suns look like now. If you haven't watched the Suns lately, they have 2 games with the Warriors. They beat them earlier in the week. And then Devin Booker got hurt.
Yep. Play them tomorrow night.
Yeah, they play him again coming up soon. The Suns, we're going to get to them a little bit later, but to start the show, we wanted to just shout out Devin Booker. He was player of the week in the West. He's had obviously a Devin Booker type run. He is maybe one of the most underrated, he's a superstar, and I don't think anyone gives him that credit.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Well, that's how the Suns have been. It's like, they're on an 18-game win streak, but I guarantee you that if the Lakers were on an 18-game win streak, it would be the only thing that the media ever talks about ever. Yep. But the Suns, it's just a small market team.
Yep, small market team. You can tell they didn't really shake it up this offseason.
Right.
They're one of the teams who's really thriving with the chemistry. They brought everyone back.
They added JaVale McGee, which I think was a good addition, and Landry Shamet.
Because I think what they got exposed with in the playoffs was when Ayton got off the floor, the rim protection with Kaminsky in just wasn't.
And then not having
there.
Saric either too.
Yep, Saric got hurt, so they brought back a good rim protector, rebounder, big.
Yep,
that was big. But other than that, and Shamet, like you mentioned, the roster didn't really change, and that's showing early in the season.
Oh yeah, totally.
The bumps, the speed bumps they're going over are way less because they have chemistry. Yep. They're relatively healthy. Obviously, Booker went down the other night, but the Suns are thriving. We're going to get to them in a little bit. The Eastern Conference Player of the Week for last week was Trae Young. They went 3-1 on the week, 69% true shooting for a guy like Trae Young. You know he's going to be putting up 30 points.
Yeah. 31, 4, and 9. Both these teams are rolling pretty much. Atlanta's getting back to where we thought that they would be. Know that they've kind of gotten into a groove and everything, and obviously, the Hunter injuries hurt, but since he got hurt, they've been better.
Bogdanovich has been better. They played the Knicks. They beat the Knicks. Mm-hmm. We beat them. Yeah. Sorry, mixed that up. We beat them. We kind of held them to a pretty low score. Yeah. That was their worst shooting night of the week. But other than that, they're scoring 110 points a night.
Yeah, they look like the team that everyone thought that they would be after last year.
And I wanted to bring it back with these two players.
Yeah.
Is I'm getting deja vu because remember they fired their coach last year.
Yep.
Then 8-game win streak or whatever. They're kind of in one of those runs now, and even Trae Young and the Hawks. We talked about 2 weeks ago. I want to say we were kind of worried about them. They're 4-9. I think is what they were.
I think
and
that's
now,
what it was.
Now they're well above, or they're a couple games above 500 now, and so Trae Young doing what he has to do to get this team through these stretches and. It's awesome to see 2 young guys putting teams on their back.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And these conferences are so loaded right now, and you can go from the 11 seed to the 3, and that's what they're doing is they're getting to the top. They're piling those wins up early. Every win you can put in your pocket's huge, and that's what these teams are doing right now, which is just great. It's just like what they did last year.
Yeah, in each conference, it's the difference between 11 and the 4 seed is 2 games.
Yeah, 2 games, and so every
and
win
there's
matters.
2 legitimately bad teams at the bottom of each conference, but then the rest are in the area.
Yeah, 2
which
wins.
Is crazy.
The 4 seed could lose 2 and be out of the playoff picture.
Yeah,
whatever. It's the NBA has as much parity. I've said this 100 times. As much parity as it's ever had in the existence of this league.
Yeah,
because every team has 2, 3. All-star caliber players almost. Obviously, you mentioned those bad teams, but
and then even the teams that
team in the top 8 has at least 2 that playing at their best could make an all-star team.
Yeah, and even with the teams that don't, they're just really deep. Like,
Yeah,
you've noticed a lot more deeper
like
teams.
the Wizards. I wouldn't say they have 2 all-star players, but like they have 7 or 8 really good basketball players.
Yeah, totally.
And then a couple, 2 or 3 outside of that are average basketball players. But if your 11th best player coming off the bench is an average player, then that's really good for you.
Yeah.
So those are the players of the week. Next, we got players of the month, and that was Steph and KD.
I don't think nobody else should have really even been considered.
The
I don't
player,
know how you couldn't have
so
picked them.
one thing I've noticed with awards is like the player of the week is more of like a like who is the hottest team that week, who maybe had the 50-point game, who maybe had 2 or 3 35-point games, whatever. But the player of the month is really who is the MVP leader for each team out of that month. You know what I'm saying? So this was this the first player of the month or the second?
Yeah, I think it was because they really didn't count October.
Even if it was, this is the MVP ladder right now. I mean, Jokic is in there somewhere, but Steph's probably ahead of Jokic for me right now.
Yeah.
But that's the player of the month for me is like, it's a look at who raised themselves the most on the MVP ladder. So next month, next month, say in the East, Trae Young wins it. That means he just moved himself that much higher. KD maybe dropped or stayed the same, but
I think
the player of the month really is more the MVP ladder versus like we saw Rudy Gobert win a player of the week. That's like kind of the hottest player who put up the best performances that week.
Yeah, it's like Steph and KD up here, and I think everyone else down here. I don't like they're
Jokic and Giannis got to be in the talk for me.
Oh, totally. But like
after that though, I just don't see like LeBron's not in it. Paul George has kind of slid a little bit for me.
Yeah, the Clippers have slid a little bit, but like Steph and KD have just been so much better.
And then like the Utah guys, I just can't put a Utah guy in it right now because they've kind of like had a weird...
It's not like Donovan Mitchell like stands out more than everybody. Like that's more of like a team.
Yeah.
Like it's kind of like Phoenix.
Yeah.
Like you can't be like Phoenix is like, oh, Devin Booker's the only reason that they're succeeding.
Yeah, because Chris Paul's been unreal, and then
Ayton's been awesome.
We'll get to that,
and then like with Steph and KD though, like without them, it's very noticeable. If they're having an off game, it's like
Steph had one of his worst games of the year,
and they lost,
or of maybe even his career.
Yeah, it was his worst shooting career, shooting more than 20 shots, and then even KD struggled a little bit in past couple games, and then they've lost a couple. So like it's. Those are the two clear, I think.
Next, we got Rookie of the Month, and this is not a joke. This is not fake. This is legit. You can look it up on the NBA website. Josh Giddey won the Western Conference Rookie of the Month, and once we really sat down and started to like think about it, who else would have won it? Jalen Green's hurt right now. He's not playing. After that, if you look at this draft class, the only other in like the top 15 Western Conference players drafted are Kuminga, who doesn't play that much. Davion Mitchell, who plays, is up, shaky, inconsistent, not a lot of minutes to go around in that backcourt in Sacramento.
Primo's in the G League.
Primo is like, he got a couple minutes the other night, but he's not starting or getting big-time minutes like Giddey is. So it makes sense, but it doesn't make sense because you're just like, Josh Giddey's a good player, but I just expect like a Rookie of the Year candidate.
Yeah.
Like the top 4 Rookie of the Year candidates are in the East right
and
now.
Giddey's averaging like 11, 7, and 6 or something like that.
The player we thought he would be. Yeah. But I just didn't like he's the
But then comparing him to like if you could just do Rookies of the Month and just choose 2
or 2 in the whole league.
Then the top 4 are in the East, and then it's Giddey.
And maybe even 5 because Wagner has been amazing too.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has the most 30-point games of any rookie is what I saw too. Wow. So Wagner's been great, but in the East it was Evan Mobley.
Yeah.
He just came back, correct?
Yeah, they'd been sliding without him, came back, and then have kind of dominated. Him and Jared Allen is...
Did you see the clip of Evan Mobley with Tyler Hero?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Evan Mobley, if you haven't seen the clip, it is Evan Mobley in one picture. So he's a 6'11" center, long arms, can block shots, all this stuff. He gets switched on to Tyler Hero. Tyler Hero's been like one of the best creators with the ball in his hand this year. 20 points per game off the bench for the Heat. He is a guard that if you get a big switched onto you, you feel 60% of the time you're going to get an open shot, whether it's a teammate or him. He is an elite creator with the basketball. Gets switched onto him and he does like the loop around, totally takes him out top, whatever, and just cannot even get like, he tries to up fake him everything and Mobley's just there. He's just his own island.
It was like... it was since some like ridiculous date that he hasn't had multiple blocks in a game.
Yeah, he's as good defensively as I expected, probably a little better.
He's better than I thought.
I knew he was a good natural defender. I knew that for a big, he was going to move his feet,
there was just
shots.
no adjustment period.
The other thing about defense that's so underrated in the NBA is you can be physically dominant. Like, I see it with Jericho Sims, right? Yeah. He had every physical tool in the book, blocks shots, rebounds, all this stuff. But if you're not in the right spot, which is all the mind, that's like why Draymond is so good, is because he's in the right spot 99% of the time. Mm-hmm. Mobley has that.
Yeah.
He's never out of position. Obviously, sometimes he's a rookie, but whenever he is in position, which is a lot of the time, he's making plays.
And, it's so tough, for teams playing Cleveland, because if you do switch out onto Jared Allen and get by him, you have Mobley coming help side.
Yeah.
It's like you have two rim protectors that are elite rim protectors.
And I would even go as far to say, as much as I love Matisse Thybulle, I think he's the best young defender in the league.
Yeah.
So it's either Matisse or Mikal Bridges for me right now, or Mobley. He's by far the best young rim protector to me. Rob's in the discussion for sure, but just everything he does defensively is just. I'd probably put Rob over him. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, probably put Rob over him, and if you consider Bam young, obviously, but
yeah,
Mobley is. In this rookie class, he's the best defender.
Easily.
Scotty Barnes is close.
But he finds himself out of position.
Rim protection will always be number one defensively, though, and that's what Mobley does.
Yeah.
So Mobley's just been incredible. So we did just talk about Davion Mitchell and the Kings and how they're going through a weird transition period. New head coach.
Yep.
4 guards in the backcourt with Buddy Hield, if you count him.
Yep.
All that stuff. But they had probably the most exciting game of the last week that we haven't covered.
It was kind of ridiculous. So, if you didn't know, it was a triple OT game with the Lakers, 141 to 137. De'Aaron Fox, 34, 6, and 8. He was awesome in that game. Just was hitting, got to his spot at the elbow, and it was just every time he pulled up, it was oh, that's going.
He looks like what you would expect out of a freak athlete coming into the NBA.
He's fit into his role.
You come in as athletic as all this is how John Wall came in, how Derrick Rose came in, all that, and then the skill develops over time, and now he's shooting jumpers and things. He looks like he's on the right.
Had a bad start, but has really kind of figured it out, I think. And then the Kings bench scored 71 in that game,
and we're all about bench scoring.
Yeah, 71 is crazy. And then on the opposite side, the Lakers' big three had 82, but they were up 8 with 2.5 minutes left in the fourth, and then just kind of choked.
They did Laker things. They didn't move the ball. They went ISO mode. They went chuck deep threes.
Or Russ stand out at the 3-point line, take a bad three, or AD post up, they double.
Yeah.
Swings it out back into the post. They were up 8 with 2.5 minutes left in the fourth, and then same thing in overtime.
That's one thing I wanted to say about you watch the Nets, the Warriors, the Suns, all that. When in their crunch time offense, end of halves, end of quarters, one shot, maybe we're going for 2 shots, there's 35 seconds left. Yeah. They're always going to get a shot.
They get into sets efficient. And stuff. It's not it's
always just... The Suns are always going to have a Devin Booker mid-range or a Chris Paul mid-range or a kick out to Mikal Bridges.
Yeah.
Or, off the pick and roll when you're going for the mid-range, drop down to Ayton or something. Always going to be an efficient shot. But then I watch the Knicks, the Lakers, teams like that, even the Miami Heat a little bit, get into we're just going to run one action. The Knicks will just throw it to Julius Randle at the elbow when we're up 7 with 2 minutes left. We're just going to throw it to LeBron on the wing. We're just going to give it to Russ in a pick and roll. It's no, the more guys who touch the ball, it feels like the more efficient offense. The Warriors never just say, just hold it for 20 seconds up here and set Steph a screen. No, we're going to work for shots.
Yeah, and even if it is just have Steph up on a screen, he's trying to make a play. It's running it a flex screen or something, and then get Steph on the opposite side of the court, getting a pin down or something. Yeah. But, in this game, it was just so bad to watch the Lakers execute. And then the Kings, on the other hand, Buddy Hield came in late in the fourth quarter and was shooting terribly and then hit, a logo 3 to tie it.
Yeah.
And then I think Russ maybe had a layup to go up 2, and then Buddy Hield was driving left on LeBron, gave him a little bump and, quick shot and just money.
I love Buddy Hield's game. I think that he could help a contender a lot right now.
It's funny, looking at that and going to Twitter, and it's like, because remember, like, Kuz thought that, like, he was going to Sacramento because he thought the Lakers were going to trade for Buddy Hield.
Dude, and, like, they could have kept KCP.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been Harrell and Kuzma for Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
And they could have kept KCP.
Yeah.
Or THT and Kuzma for Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
You know, and then you deal Harrell for a second-round pick or something. You keep your wing depth. You have, like...
And you don't...
I like Russ on this team because it's the Lakers. They had 82 in this game. The Big Three did. They didn't lose because of the Big Three. They played great, but like the fit Buddy Hield next to LeBron would just be so fun to watch.
Yeah, and with Russ, it's like Russ obviously commands the ball more than Buddy Hield needs. Like, you just got to set screens for Buddy Hield. Yeah. Like, it's not like he's trying to create. Just get him running off screens. And then also in that game, I don't know why the hell DeAndre Jordan is playing.
Yeah,
I don't know. First of all, why is he starting? Second of all, why is he playing? And why is AD not playing the 5? It's kind of... It's terrible to watch when AD is not the 5, and then it's like AD plays the 5, and then they go on a run and look like they're playing good basketball.
I think that
it's like, oh my god.
I mean, I would like to know why he doesn't play the 5 more.
Is it like he's just...
I think the reason is, I don't think that they like LeBron at the 4. So I think they need another big wing. So when Ariza comes back...
Yeah.
When Melo's out there, if it's LeBron, Melo, and AD, that's enough size. But I just don't think they like LeBron, who's more of like the point guard creator, at the 4, which makes sense to me personally.
That makes sense, but it's
the lineups are just
they
so
just
hard to watch.
sacrifice so much more because if AD's posting up in the short corner and DeAndre Jordan's just sitting in the paint, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna help off DeAndre Jordan. Okay, maybe I'll let go a lob.
Yeah.
What's that gonna happen twice a game? Like,
for sure,
he shouldn't be starting. First of all, not even playing.
Since we're talking about the Lakers, I just got an alert on my phone, as you can see. LeBron James is available Friday versus the Clippers. Clears protocol due to multiple negative COVID tests. So if you didn't know, LeBron was supposed to miss like 10 days due to being in the COVID protocols.
Fully vaccinated.
He's fully vaccinated, tested twice, so he's good to go to play in that game.
I still hope they flex him out of that ESPN spot.
That was good timing, though, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
That LeBron thing just popped up while we were talking about
I do hope they flex the Lakers Clippers out of that spot and put in the Suns Warriors because I feel like just the Suns Warriors is just such...
It's the two hottest teams in basketball, and if the Suns beat them twice in a row, that'll be like crazy.
Oh yeah, I think you have to.
Like, it's weird because the Suns are still that team that's looking for the moment where everyone's like, "Wow, this team's good."
But no, I don't think
you know what I'm saying.
They're not going to get that like national respect. I don't think because they just went to the finals.
It's a stupid concept that they need that moment still because they just went to the finals.
They went to the finals, and then Stephen A. Smith's like their championship window's closed.
Yeah, they do still kind of need that moment where it's like, well, we just beat the Warriors, who are healthy, twice in a row.
Yeah,
you know, once at their place, once at our place. So that'll be a fun game.
I mean, they just got to rip off like a 40-game win streak, I guess.
Yeah, apparently they got it. They've won 17 in a row. They beat my Knicks in that win streak.
Yeah.
But the Suns, we're gonna get to the Suns in a little bit.
Yeah.
But we want to just do a couple more games real quick. Then
we'll
get to the Suns. The next most exciting game of the weekend that we watched together was T-Wolves Sixers. The Wolves won 121-120 in double overtime, so 2 overtime games in a row.
This was kind of crazy, honestly.
Yeah, so the T-Wolves big three was there, 82 points between the three of them. Obviously double overtime game, so 10 extra minutes for all three of them. Mm-hmm. You'd expect that. Cat fouled out though.
Yep,
so he didn't quite get as many minutes. Embiid had 42 and 14, dominant performance, but 21 free throws. If you know Embiid, you know that when he's going to the free throw line is when he's the scariest because he is a good free throw shooter.
Yeah.
And so he's not afraid of going to the free throw line. It's just
when
he goes to the free throw line, to me it tells me he is attacking downhill.
Yeah, because I think he only made like 1 or 2 more shots than Cat and had like 14 more points.
Yeah. If he has a game where he shoots 4 free throws, it tells me he's settled for jumpers. Yep. He's settled for that mid-range fadeaway, which he still is going, but his game starts when he gets into the paint. So this game, he really was getting downhill. He got a lot of calls because that's just what a big guy like him is going to get. You have to foul him in order to guard him because he's so huge.
Yeah.
But he was amazing in this game. He's such an every other night guy that it's so difficult to tell what's really going on.
I just don't know if I can put him in that top 12 players. I mean,
he's too inconsistent. The top 12 has dudes who drop 30 every single night.
Yeah, and it's like even whatever his averages are going to be high, but like, okay, he's going to miss 20 games, you know that, and then one night he's going to look like the most dominant player ever, and then the other night he's going to look like Jahlil Okafor and just suck.
Yep.
But like in this game, obviously getting to the rim and stuff, getting fouled. But what was crazy was at the end of first OT, D'Angelo Russell hit like a crazy three.
Probably my shot of the year. Like, I'm trying to think back. The LaMelo shot was ridiculous. We'll get to that in just a little bit.
Yeah.
But that shot was just like, it was he like even I think he thought it might have gotten like tipped or something because he like shot it and did like the leg kick. Like, it was like kind of like a heave, like way into the air.
To go up three, and then the T-Wolves foul Philly. I think they might have just fouled before they could get a shot off. And so
at half court, I remember that.
And they made one, and then they put in Drummond and Embiid.
That was crazy.
And they miss it. I don't know if it was on purpose because it was like, was it just short?
I think it hit back rim and bounced straight out.
And then Drummond tipped it in.
Yeah,
like,
so
just a lucky...
Just like the late game stuff that like, you know, you have to do it. You have to try it because, you know, there's a chance.
How often it works.
And it worked because they had their 2 7-footers just elbow in the back of the guy and just drive him, and then Drummond
with
just
no
tipped
cat
it in.
on the thing that was kind of it was like, is there no person like that you have the
Naz Reid and Jared Vanderbilt?
It's like is there no big dude who hasn't played all game to where you can just go in and box
they're
out?
They're both like 6'9". Yeah, trying to box out Embiid, and Drummond is obviously a good rebounder.
Yeah, so it's like then that happened, but then T-Wolves just executed, and honestly, that was a game Philly should have won.
Yeah, especially when Cat goes out, you really got to like execute down the stretch. Yeah, and it just didn't. Like, they needed a fake tip in to even keep the game to go to another overtime. And the Wolves really did like D'Angelo Russell. Whenever he's creating off the dribble, they're just so tough because he's such a good like. I wouldn't say he's such a good bucket getter, but he is pretty clutch, obviously, throughout his career. And so once he's hitting shots in the fourth, it really does, like, help them out.
And we said that, like, they fooled us or whatever. But, like, so they started off really well. Then they had a bad losing streak. And then now they're back to winning games and stuff. So it's like, are they going to be consistent enough to, like, do what we thought that they would do and maybe get into that play-in area? Or are they just going to be inconsistent enough to miss that? And I hope it's get to the play-in.
They're a fun team to watch.
They're a fun team to watch. They have the talent to, like, for one game in a play-in game to win just off some, like, ridiculous, like, 90 points combined, the three.
Anthony Edwards is becoming a star.
Yes.
Karl Anthony Towns' best games are among the best players in the league, not just the best centers. So when they play their best game and their role players are hitting shots, they're a tough team to beat, but it's a 1 of every 3 or 1 of every 4 game when playoff teams it's 3 of every 4, 2 of every 3.
Exactly.
So they're just not quite there yet. They need, like we've talked about, it's not that they need another piece. They just need if Anthony Edwards takes that next step and becomes a legitimate all-star, then they are there, but they just need to take that step. Our next segment on this show is teams that are rolling. There's a lot, like we were talking about with the Hawks, the Suns, the Warriors. There's a lot of teams now who maybe started off shaky, maybe got unhealthy to start the year, COVID protocols, whatever that may be, and now they're really picking it up in the last 10 to 12 games, and if you're the Suns, it's the last 17 games.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of teams now that have picked it up, and we start with the Bucks. So the Bucks started, I think they were 6-8 at one point.
Maybe. I think
whatever it was, 6-8, 5-8, something like that because of injury. Middleton to COVID. Brook Lopez got announced today that he got back surgery.
Out indefinitely, but I don't think that hurts him near as much as it does for Middleton and Holiday, obviously.
Oh, they need the Middleton Holiday for sure.
And then especially signing Boogie, if Boogie can be a consistent bench, because they can start Giannis at the 5, I think, and be fine with that. But like
Giannis
you said,
is like a freaky 5 because he makes the game so much faster. He can still block shots like a 5.
Yeah.
They just never played him at the 5 because the defensive rebounding. They didn't want to make him box out every single possession for 48 minutes.
But now they're at 8 in a row, 13-8. They just beat Charlotte last night in a great game, wild ending and stuff.
Yeah, that game was ridiculous. Charlotte's hot as well, so we got them on our list. But that game was just stupid. Like, I mean, it started with the LaMelo shot.
Yeah.
Like, if you haven't seen LaMelo's 92-point game, in high school. He
That's
made
literally
at the
same
end
shot.
at the end of the game, he's getting triple teamed because they know that they're going to him. He has 89 points.
Yeah.
Takes a dribble at the white line and like one-footed, like knee in the air shot, like running to his left and makes it for 92 points. And he hit a shot so similar to that to it was to tie it, correct?
Yeah.
They were down 3. So they tied it with that. And then Budenholzer, great design.
Play call.
Yeah.
That was just fantastic.
To tie it, or
it
to
was
take the lead.
Giannis was in the backcourt, had a lot of stuff happening in the front court. Giannis gets downhill. And
they kind of threw it to Middleton, I believe, at the top of the key.
Yeah.
And then Giannis running down the sideline, catches it at the three-point line, full head of steam. His defender's like a foot and a half inside of the three-point line. Catch, boom, goes right to his left, gets the... And when Giannis gets even this much of a lead on a guy...
And it was like, I think it was like Frank Richards or something.
Yeah.
Who was guarding him, and it's like, no chance.
Yeah.
And then Bridges catches the ball. They have no timeouts, 2 seconds left. Half court, like one-footed, and hits like the back of the rim and rolls out. Just, if that would have went down.
If it would have been one of the greatest game winners since probably Tyreek Evans.
Yeah.
Back
And probably one of the
I'm
greatest,
talking about?
probably one of the greatest calls ever. Eric Collins would have lost
Eric
his
Collins
mind.
with the Hornets.
He might have
had
passed out.
Even the alley-oop earlier to Miles Bridges. Like, if you haven't watched a Hornets game, or if you have League Pass, you got to turn on the Hornets because their announcer, Eric Collins, is just, like, an entertainer. His voice, the screaming. We've done a couple of those on this show already where even the title was Bridges and things like that.
Losing his mind.
You really got to watch that. But the thing I wanted to bring up about the Hornets is... Right now, LaMelo's an all-star for me.
Yeah,
If I had to choose my all-star team, which we'll do in a couple weeks, probably maybe like a Christmas edition or something where we do our all-stars. LaMelo Ball is an all-star. He's becoming a superstar in this league.
Yeah.
He had 36 points in that one. That's his career high.
Mm-hmm.
He's as good as a second-year point guard probably has ever been.
I'm trying to think of anyone who, like...
And
second year,
even on top of it, I mean, Luka probably is a little bit better, of course.
Yeah.
But like, even on top of it, you really got to shout out. Obviously, you don't shout out LeVar Ball.
Yeah.
But you shout out the fact that like, if it could have it couldn't have gone any better from like 2018 to now.
Yeah.
In the fact of like, okay, you see him in high school, he's a superstar, internet sensation,
whatever.
all
People
that
are
stuff.
Like, he's not going to go.
What is he gonna be? What is he really gonna be? And then if you fast forwarded to now, it's like, oh, he actually became that.
Yeah.
He is as good as, I mean, I hate to say he's as good as the media portrays him to be, because the media, we all know the media with LaMelo Ball and the storylines and things like that, but he really is as good as the media has portrayed him to be.
He's as fun to watch, too.
Yeah, he's as fun to watch as the media has shown. He hits deep threes. He's a great passer. He's an exciting passer. He's becoming a clutch player.
Yeah.
He's becoming more consistent. He still has his 12-point games and such, but like over
if
the
he
year,
can get like triple doubles when he has his 12-point games, then that's what you need. Like
he's a
that's
great
what
rebounding
great
guard.
Yeah.
He gets steals. He impacts the game a lot, just like his brother Lonzo. So I just wanted to shout him out. He's on my all-star ballot right now if I had to choose.
I'd agree with that.
He's just been wonderful. They've won 8 of their last 12, like we mentioned. Next, we got Atlanta, who we talked about earlier with Trae Young.
Trae might be an all-star starter.
Trae is he's my all-star point guard in the East. We were talking about that on our last episode. Who would we have in there?
Yeah, he's definitely a starter at this point.
Since that episode, he won a Player of the Week.
Yeah,
he's
just been on fire.
Yeah, they won 3 of 4, and the only loss was to the Knicks, and it was in a game where they scored 90 points and no one shot well.
Yeah,
it was
just an
99
ugly
to
game,
90.
honestly.
Ugly game. No one shot well, and so like that game on Christmas though against the Knicks at Madison Square Garden.
I'm actually excited for the Christmas games this year. There's gonna be a lot of great.
We'll do
games.
a big preview episode. We'll be at home.
Yeah,
so we'll be able
pick
to sit
them
down
and everything, and But Atlanta, 8 of their last 9, 12 and 10. We've kind of talked about them. We'll get them out already. Just playing like the team that we thought they should be.
They look a lot more like the team that right after their coach got fired. Lloyd Pierce got fired, and they hired Nate McMillan.
Yeah.
Back to their defense is like a lot better so far. Finding ways to get Trae off the ball, and I've noticed it's when we watched the Knicks game. we were like, just go at Trey every time. But they do a good job switching off, like in the backside of plays. They switch. Okay, Fournier might come up on this handoff, so we're going to
do a great job of hiding him, which is what a good team does.
And then putting their best defender at the point of attack. I noticed the Suns do that a lot too with Bridges. They're making sure that they know the other team's actions really well, so they're making sure.
And even not even that, but like a switchable action to where it's like if you can get multiple forward defenders or onto it, like mobile enough to where like, okay, going into, so like we said about Atlanta, but like in the Warriors and Suns game, which are the next two teams that have been crazy hot, they would put Wiggins on Ayton and Draymond on Chris Paul, and then they'd switch it. And so Wiggins is a capable enough defender to stay on Chris Paul, and Draymond's physical enough to stay with Ayton. And it's
smart defensive teams are fun to watch.
Oh, totally. And then like with their off-ball defense too, just trying to like shade and like hedge at Chris Paul to make him like make a quick decision. It's so fun to watch the Warriors play defense.
Yeah. And the Hawks are getting that way too with their bodies. Clint Capella is a great rebounder and defender. One stat that I actually wanted to bring out was, so I was watching the Jimmy High Roller video about Jokic, and he has the second highest, it's like the defensive rating or whatever it is, like the individual defensive, it's not box plus minus, but it's like defensive on off or rating or whatever it is of all time. Nate McMillan is number one. Did you know that? Seattle Supersonics.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and Giannis's MVP season with the Defensive Player of the Year is number 3. It's right under where Jokic is right now.
Wow.
But crazy. Nate McMillan, he's the head coach of the Hawks. I had to bring that one out.
That is crazy.
Next, we got the Suns and the Warriors who play their second of their 2 games this week. First, we got the Suns. I just wanted to talk a lot about the Suns.
Yeah.
And first, I think it starts with DeAndre Ayton for me.
Yeah.
I had texted with Ray a little bit. Ray was on our podcast on the second episode, and he's a Suns fan, and he was talking about how they're rolling and stuff, and you really do have to pay Ayton.
I don't know how you don't.
I don't know how you don't pay DeAndre Ayton. He's a franchise-changing center. He's the perfect mold for a center in today's NBA.
He's the perfect mold for what you need to guard other centers, and he's probably one of the best rim-running bigs in the league.
And honestly, to add on top of that, of all of the rim-running bigs in the league that I can think of, Capella, Robinson, just that.
You could even call Giannis a rim runner.
Yep, Giannis, all that stuff. Ayton probably is in the top 3 or 4 in offensive game where if you put a small on him, he can punish you. He actually has skills in the post.
He's not like a
Clint Capella. He actually has that mid-range jumper. He has like things he can do. He's like a...
And he has the ability to defend those bigs. Like we've said this before, if you had to like make a prototype to guard Giannis, it'd be him.
Yep, it's DeAndre Ayton for sure.
He's mobile enough to guard these quicker, bigger guys, but he's also strong enough to handle his own against Jokic.
No one can
Embiid.
handle their own against those guys, but he does the best of all of them.
Does the best, yes. And if he's causing fits like that and then can rim run and like he's athletic enough to run past those guys and and when you have Chris Paul out in transition, it's like he's going to find him.
Yep, the lob threat, even like we saw him so many times hit that free throw line jumper.
Yeah.
He even got the little floater down the short roll, one dribble floater when the defense is in drop coverage.
Yeah.
Things like that he really did figure out in the playoffs, and then it's kind of translated over. He got back to healthy. He was unhealthy for a couple games in this win streak.
I think it might have been like 5 or 6 maybe, but
got
then came back
healthy.
And looked like
looks great.
Yeah.
And I really do attribute a lot of his growth as a player to Chris Paul.
Oh, totally. I think for just that team as a whole, obviously.
I want every good young big guy to be able to play a year with Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Or just young player. We saw Shea take that next step with Chris Paul. Like every player, it feels like that Chris Paul's around. DeAndre Jordan's best years were with Chris Paul.
Yeah.
Clint Capella with the years with Chris Paul were great in Houston. Like I just want every big, because he's such a smart player where his perfect skill set is the pick and roll with a good rim running big, because he can shoot the mid range, so the big really does have to sag, but if the big ever takes a step up,
it's a pass.
And it's always like a over the head because he's so short.
Something ridiculous pass. And then even like going to like younger players like developing, obviously Devin Booker, we know what he is. Cam Johnson's played like the way that he did in the finals.
The dude can't miss.
Yeah.
They played the Knicks. They beat the Knicks this week in like They beat us by like 20 or 25, somewhere in that range. And Cam Johnson hit a couple threes, just can't miss. He's a great like 3 or 4 wing, like an awkward 3 or 4
he can
wing that subs
play
in.
multiple positions. And then the one that I want to talk about is Mikal Bridges, who should make
I mentioned earlier with the defensive.
He needs to make an all defensive team. The way that he played, if he's not the thing that's awesome is like he's been better offensively in shot creation, but like when you play the Warriors and he's dogging Steph off ball, he doesn't need to create as much because other guys will pick it up. But the way that he played Steph off ball was just awesome to watch.
Yeah.
And like on ball, obviously Steph got to his spots and missed some looks they didn't appreciate, but like watching him play Steph off ball and just deny everything because he has that length.
Yeah.
He has super long arms, like, but he also has the quickness to like.
When we were talking about who is the perfect guy to guard Steph a couple weeks ago, because the off ball, you need length. So, like, I brought up Tyrese Halliburton. I think he's a great one. Speed, length. But Mikal Bridges really is the number one. I think that Mikal Bridges I'm so excited for because this isn't even a shade of the player he'll become. Because he's going to be an all-defensive team guy for the rest of his career, in the talks at least. But he's got 3 more years of being third fiddle on shot creation on this team. Then who knows if Chris Paul sticks around? We don't know. Chris Paul is an Iron Man. He's been around forever. He could play another 5 years probably. But his 3-year deal will come to a close, and then it might be like we're going to get to see this dude with pick and roll opportunities. Getting to like he takes the ball off the dribble 3 or 4 times a game and hits a mid-range jumper, and you're like, wow, he really does have the potential to be a star. Versus I think this offseason and last year, I would have said he's going to be more of like a complimentary player. That's like a very valuable young complimentary player, but now I say his potential is a star.
Yeah, his development has just been shocking, honestly. And the Suns just deserve more praise than they're getting, honestly. Like we've said, like just a small market team doing way more than
James Jones. Big shout out to James Jones. They've really turned the tide of like this fan base. They're one of the most passionate fan bases now, when it was kind of like low.
When they like the crowd during that Warriors game was awesome, and like in a year and a half they went from a team that sucked to 8-game winning streak in the bubble. The
Monty Williams too.
We didn't 2
give
seed
him
in
enough
the
credit in our coaching tier or our coaching.
Coach of the Year.
Coach of the Year stuff. We didn't talk about
2 seed in the West, got to the finals, and now are on a 17-game win streak in a year and a half. They went to like a poverty franchise to a contender, which is just insane. And you got to attribute that to like everyone. Obviously, Monty Williams, James Jones, Chris Paul, the young guys for developing
the culture and like knowing that. And also, like, one thing I feel like is a very underrated skill in front offices is knowing what you have. So the Suns really did know. They knew what they had. So then they pull the trigger, make the Chris Paul trade. Changes the culture of the team because you just want that one piece, that one leader away. Obviously, they signed Jay Crowder, too, which is another locker room guy.
And like kind of like
2
a
or 3
perfect
wings.
fit, too.
They have Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson, who... You hope Cam Johnson is as good as Jay Crowder is someday. You know, like in that role. Like Cam Johnson to me isn't going to be a star. Mikal Bridges is. Cam Johnson, though, if he is as good as Jay Crowder someday, like, oh my gosh.
He has the defensive capabilities too, and he shoots the 3 ball so well. And like just the way that they're built offensively just fits. And especially if Mikal Bridges turns into like that more creator. Like this team is built so well.
All like they drafted. When you draft well for 4 or 5 seasons in a row. And then you make that one trade, like we saw with Milwaukee. They drafted and made good moves for like 4 or 5 off seasons, maybe 6, dating back to Giannis's rookie year. Then you make the Drew Holiday trade, and everything changes right after that.
Exactly, and establishes a culture and everything. And then, like we said, Warriors Suns play tomorrow. The Warriors obviously lost that. They're 18-3 now. It was one of Steph's worst games that we've seen, but like this team is just, it'll be interesting to see how they fit with like who gets less minutes when Klay comes back, because Klay's going to start.
I think it's Poole. Wiggins is pretty valuable to them defensively.
Poole's going to go to the bench.
Poole's going to get 22 to 24 minutes a game, but it's against backups. So that's going to be scary. He's going to be cooking against backups.
And this team obviously is, I think, obviously the title or one of the 2 title favorites because, I mean... You
Out West, it's... for me, it goes the Warriors, the Lakers, then Phoenix. We just talked about Phoenix, but I'm just the guy. I can't take them over LeBron. And LeBron has looked as good as he's... Like, this year, he's looked great when he's playing. It's just once their chemistry and roster gets around, I think that they're above the Suns for me. Maybe, like, if the finals or if the playoffs were today, obviously the Suns are ahead of them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting just to see if that does happen with the Lakers.
If I had to put money on it, I probably am putting money on the Lakers over the Suns.
Because, like, if the Lakers, obviously, older health issues and stuff, like, if
chemistry still, too.
Chemistry still. Like, I would put Phoenix over them because Phoenix, obviously...
And they've been there.
And they did beat the Lakers, too. So it's like in the playoffs, obviously it wasn't a fully healthy Lakers squad, but I think this Phoenix team is going to be better than they were.
Yes. Oh, I agree. Yep.
But the Warriors obviously have to be at the top, but then after that, it's Utah at 4, and then anyone else.
If the Nuggets are healthy, they got to be 5.
But they aren't.
I know.
So it's like
Dallas maybe. Because of Luka. Luka's playoff performances have been unreal lately.
But I just don't see Luka beating any of those teams in a 7-game series. Yeah. But if the Nuggets had every single person, but Dozier's out for the year, tore an ACL, Porter Jr. could be out for the year, Jamal Murray will be coming back, but it's those 4 teams and then a gap.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. The next segment of our show is we're going to go over some teams that are skidding. Yeah. Maybe some teams. We just talked about a lot of teams on win streaks that are maybe turned their season around after rough, shaky starts.
Yeah.
But now we're going to talk about two teams in particular that are skidding, and whether it's due to injury, due to COVID. We know COVID's still as big of an obstacle as it was last season.
Yep.
Maybe a little bit less, but probably about the same.
Yeah.
With the vaccination rates and things, it's a little bit less, but still pretty similar. COVID, injuries, maybe different coaching, whatever it may be.
Players not playing where they need to be, but yeah.
Yeah. The first team that's on our list is the Sixers, who have lost 9 of their last 12. They're 11-11, and their season really has flipped in the opposite way of the Hawks, where they started the year and I was like, they don't need Ben Simmons. They're good. Embiid looks great. They look as motivated as ever, and then they lost 9 of their last 12.
Obviously, that comes with COVID. A lot of their team is out, but also they haven't looked that great since they've been fully healthy.
Tobias Harris has looked different, not as good. Yeah,
and obviously Embiid looks out of shape, but that's what happens when you have 3 weeks.
Yeah,
but even before that, right before he got it, it was he still didn't look all that in shape. They started 9-2, and I was like, wow, this is shocking me.
Yeah.
But I think that I wasn't as high on Philly as you were.
Yeah.
Because I just don't know, without Ben Simmons and his defense and his, transition playmaking, we give Ben Simmons a lot just for his offensive game, but he does bring another dimension to the team. I just haven't been as high. People were saying top 3 seed in the East. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah, and I respect that. Obviously now I see that a lot more. Yeah. But for me it was just hard when I picked them to be a top 3 seed. It's just hard because they got Embiid. They got pretty much the same roster. It's just minus Ben Simmons. And then obviously we've seen Tyrese Maxey take a little bit of a step in the right direction. He's
when Embiid is on the floor though, he does not look like the same player.
Yeah. Maxey needs to run with the bench a lot.
I agree, but it's weird because what substitutions do you make?
But this team needs a point guard.
Yes,
and John Wall's out of the picture because of the money.
Yeah,
but this
unless you just straight up trade Ben Simmons and someone for John Wall, but I don't think that would happen.
Yeah.
To match contracts, it'd have to be Ben Simmons and
Danny Green or something, right?
A $12 million player for John Wall, and I just don't see that happening
I don't like that deal either.
Unless Morey just is
screw it. Yeah. But they do need a point guard so that Maxey can play off the bench.
Maxey has to play off the bench.
They have no creation when Maxey or Harris is off the floor.
He's not a true point guard. He's more of a Quickly.
He's a lot like Quickly, yeah.
In my opinion, obviously Quickly's playmaking's better. But in terms of the main goal is to score.
Yep.
It's not to create, which you need a point guard that can create. Which in this most recent game they played the Celtics. Whatever. I'm going to talk about the Celtics a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
It was a criticism of Marcus Smart of he can't play true point guard.
That's just what I've been criticizing him forever.
But since they lost the Bulls and then started going on and playing a lot better defense, making themselves a top 5 defensive team in the league now. He's been averaging like 7 or 8 assists a game, and that's exactly what he needs to do. He needs to take 5 to 8 shots a game, maybe. Obviously a bit more if they're struggling or whatever, if he's feeling hot, but then get those 8 assists and play all defensive
He's such a big
team.
guard that he can get into the lane, make passes,
I do.
use his shoulders. So
and one thing that I've noticed is that they've gotten him into the post more often and more into pick and rolls. But like he's making these passes where it's like, whoa. Yeah. He's
and
like
when the shots start to fall too, it really does help. You guys have been shooting better.
We actually had like a fully healthy roster for the first time in a month.
Yeah.
And I obviously I don't think Jalen's healthy. But like Celtics have figured it out. Tatum's still struggling a little bit. He had that 5 or 6 game stretch, but then still struggling. But they played Philly in one of the uglier games. Yeah. Both teams didn't shoot great at all. Not that many free throws or anything, and just a weird ending too. Like Danny Green, logo 3.
Yeah,
to go down 1.
Down 1, and then
Schroeder, bad shot, good defense, and then just a great defensive possession by the Celtics at the end. Rob contesting the inbounds. Tobias Harris gets it on the perimeter.
Al Horford.
Horford plays fantastic defense. Yang comes around to the corner, is open, catches it, and Rob Williams comes out of nowhere and blocks it.
Didn't give my boy Georges a chance, man. It was sad to watch. But, that's the thing about the Celtics that I feel like I've said for a while. I have been critical of Marcus Smart playing the point guard because I just don't think he's a natural point guard. He can become that, of course. But the Celtics have the makeup to be a top 5 defensive team.
Yes.
Physically, like they're one of the smartest teams, obviously. Like they have defensive geniuses. Al Horford, Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown's a great defensive player. And then obviously Rob is at your 5. Tatum's not a bad defender either.
Right.
He's a physically capable defender. So the Celtics have always had the makeup of a top 5 defensive team.
Now
They just had to become that.
Yeah, exactly.
And gel. And the starting lineup. This starting lineup hasn't played a lot together.
No, I think they're like, for the defensive rating that they have, it's like the 100th most minutes played together by a group. So if they can stay healthy, which I wish would happen. I feel like I haven't seen a fully healthy roster for years. Yeah. But then offense, if it becomes above average, this team is going to be really good because they lock down defensively.
Oh, yeah. They have 4 good defenders, and then Tatum's well above average defensively. Yeah. And the capability, especially with, like what you were saying, with when Marcus Smart is playmaking more, then Tatum can defend a little bit better. He gets more open shots. He's not as tired. He's not working as hard, so then he can defend harder.
Just the one concern I have is Jalen's health. He doesn't look healthy out there with his hamstring, which I think you rest him.
Yep.
And then one thing I do not like with rotation-wise was we only played 9 in that game, and Romeo didn't play. Romeo's too good of a player to not play. You can't just sit him. He's proved that he's good enough to be a catch. He's a 3-and-D
down
guy.
A lot of shots.
He's shooting above 40% from 3, which is what you want him to do, and playing a great defense. I don't see how he doesn't play.
Yeah, I think.
But also that was a matchup thing because Cantor did play a lot of minutes because with Embiid you need all the big bodies you can throw at him.
Yeah.
Or Freedom, my bad.
Yeah.
But
isn't his middle name Cantor still?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I do hope to see that Romeo gets those minutes, but other than that, this team is really starting to fill into what I want. Josh Richardson's been great. He didn't start off great.
I think you're seeing a lot more of what like the offseason mindset was because like once you get guys healthy and once you can actually see them run together, then you really start to fill in like, okay, what young guys need minutes, what young guys.
And it's funny like seeing people like this team is the same as last year, but the team last year didn't play defense either.
No, dude.
They sucked at offense. They sucked at defense.
When I've watched the Celtics last year compared to this year, it feels like the whole bringing in Al Horford was a genius move.
Yeah.
The defensive, like how you guys were, I want to say Tatum's rookie year defensively. Like obviously it was in the playoffs. It was Terry instead of like the defensive. Bodies weren't there, but the scheme and the culture was there, and that's what this team looks like.
Yeah, they actually play hard too. They play hard. They're great defensively. Their assist numbers are up. It's just their shot
sharing
hasn't
the
fallen.
ball.
But like last year, they were bottom 20 in both defense and offense and like everything in between. But now they're a top 5 defensive team, which doesn't tell me it's the same team. It tells me it's a better team. The coaching obviously is improved because Brad couldn't get them to play hard on either end last year. And they're playing hard. It's just shots aren't going down. But once you get a fully healthy roster, then you can be like shots will start to fall down as you get. If you do stay healthy, you develop a rhythm.
Yep. Okay, so our last team, is that enough for the Celtics for you? Okay. So our last team in the skidding category is the Nuggets, and they've lost 7 of their last 8.
Yeah.
And a couple of those were with Jokic being unhealthy.
Yeah, they stand no chance without Jokic on the court, especially with no Murray or Porter Jr. or even like PJ Dozier. Like they stand absolutely
Bones Highland, like a lot of unhealthy guys.
Chance without Jokic on the court.
Yeah, Jokic is. If you haven't watched the Nuggets, I say this a lot, but like these are a lot of the teams that I like to watch. Jokic is one of those guys where the ball is constantly in his hand.
Yeah,
but it doesn't like his usage rate's high.
It doesn't feel like it sticks, though.
It doesn't stick. It's always, boom,
a good possession.
Back to me, handoff, roll, back to the top.
It's not like he's sitting in the post, like, making a bad play. He's moving it, but then he gets it back. It's not sticking to him.
So he's the definition of casuals don't like to watch Jokic play because he's not exciting. He's not high-flying. He doesn't break ankles. He doesn't make crazy shots. He doesn't do any of that. But like the people who really do love the game know that Jokic is a top 5 player in the league right now.
Yes.
They know that they love to sit down and watch him play. If a Nuggets game is on, I'm turning it on before probably 25 of the NBA teams that are in the league right now because their offense is continuously moving and
it's kind of like a Golden State type offense.
If Golden State's offense was ran through a center, that's what
exactly.
it would be like.
And it's like all that off ball movement is caused by the dude who has the ball. Yeah. So it's like, obviously, if Draymond was...
Yeah, if Draymond averaged 26 a game.
Yeah.
That's what it would be.
That offense would be, like, the same.
Yeah.
So, I do... They have been struggling a lot, for sure. But it's just a health thing. So, if Murray comes back, then obviously they're going to be in playoff contention. Porter Jr. likely being done for the season is not good at all. Obviously, he didn't start great, but he needed to get into a groove, obviously.
Yep.
PJ Dozier.
His health concerns me. He just got the big contract, and it's all guaranteed.
It can come back to bite them if he's not healthy, but obviously you hope that he is healthy because...
It might have been bugging him for a while now because
maybe that's
he wasn't very good at the beginning of the year.
That's probably...
And I don't know. I hope that he gets back because he is a very exciting player. Yeah. Young, all the potential in the world.
Totally.
But this roster just needs to get healthy. Yep. Nuggets, you got Jamal Murray, like you said, Dozier earlier. Bones Highland's been great to watch.
That's a good replacement for PJ Dozier. Yeah. Dozier's obviously bigger. Yeah. But still plays like that guard scoring mentality. And Bones Highland's definitely stepped up for that, for sure. But yeah, they just need to get healthy. And if Jokic is out, they just stand no chance.
And if this team makes a top 3 seed, Jokic is the MVP.
I don't know how you can debate it. No matter what anybody does, unless somebody averages 80 points a game.
Yeah.
If Jokic makes the top 3 seed,
stats, all of his on-off numbers, all
are ridiculous.
The stuff is like, he's having the greatest season of all time, basically, right now. And it's just, no one cares because it's just like the Suns. Smaller market. Not a small market. Denver's not Milwaukee, but it's still a smaller market. It's not LA. He's not on the Warriors, nothing like that. And so we like to give the Nuggets their credit, but they have stunk it up the last 7 or 8 games.
They just got to find ways to win, honestly, at this point, until Murray comes back, obviously.
Yep. Next, we got a coaches tier list, and that's going to end our episode. Yep. So 5 or 6 minute coaches tier list. We just wanted to give our insight. You guys know a lot about like what we think about each coach, but we just wanted to really rank it, take a picture of it, post it on the TikTok, all that stuff. Yep. So you'll see that next. Okay, to finish off today's episode, we got our coaching tier list. Yep. So as you can see here, there's only 27 coaches on this tier list. I didn't make it. I just found it. Yeah. And like Luke Walton's on this list, so
we'll just use his for
will put their
Alvin
coach,
Gentry.
Alvin Gentry, as Luke Walton's spot. I think
Yeah.
that's the only one that's inaccurate on here.
Yeah.
But 3 are missing. You got them.
Yeah, it's Jamal Mosley for the Magic, Wes Unseld Jr. for Washington, and Willie Green for New Orleans. So we'll just do them first, just because they obviously aren't on the list, like we said. So to start out, Jamal Mosley for the Magic.
I don't really have much of an opinion here. I think he has done pretty good with like the young core and stuff. I would say
they play hard. They're a tough out, but they're just not a good team. They're so young.
I'm gonna say like a B for now.
I would go B as well because
probably B or C.
He has done a great job with these players and making them play hard, like I said. But yeah, I would agree B or C. They're just not. They're young, obviously.
First year coach.
Yeah.
Too.
Moving on.
All 3 of these guys are first year coaches.
Yeah. Moving on to Wes Unseld for Washington. It might got to be an A with the way
For me, he's an A just because of the way that they've overachieved.
Oh, totally.
Year.
Like
that's
in
a
the
lot
rotations
on the
and stuff, like just it been a great like season that we just did not expect for Washington, honestly. So I think you got to put him in A. They're just overachieving, like we said.
Yeah.
And then moving on to Willie Green for New Orleans. It's tough to say for him because he hasn't had Zion. He hasn't had Brandon Ingram a lot. He's been dealt a terrible roster.
Yeah. I'm going to put him in the don't know category because I just can't really judge it yet. I don't want to put him too low.
And it's like they didn't start off great, but like they're winning games here and there now. Like he's hasn't been dealt a great hand.
Yeah. And one thing I do know is that he's actually a basketball genius.
Yeah.
Chris Paul said it, I think, on the JJ Redick podcast, is that he is like, he's so excited for Willie Green to be able to be a head coach because he is great. He's a young dude, just like we see with like Ime and like a lot of these young guys going into coaching jobs. So I'm going to put him in don't know because I don't want to put him too low and him end up being a great coach.
Right, and he hasn't had the franchise player play
yet.
So moving on to the
we got pictures. So first we got Billy Donovan. He's with Chicago, and he's got to be an A for me.
Yeah.
Even in OKC, he was a good coach. When he had talent, he was a good coach. He's got to be an A for me. Everywhere, I mean, his defense is overachieving for what they have. They're winning games without Vucevic, or they did win games without Vucevic there for a little bit. He's good. Billups, Chauncey is a good coach, but like for me, it's just like I don't really know.
I would go C.
Probably C for now. Like if they make a playoff run, then
if they do well,
go up a little bit.
Like if they flip it around, because now Dame's out for 10 days with like abdomen tendinopathy or whatever it is, which is something that was bugging him during the Olympics. So maybe that's why he's had a slow struggle. To start, but yeah, put him in a C. Like they're an improvement.
He's not a bad coach.
Yeah,
but I don't think he's a great coach yet.
Yeah, obviously it's first year.
Years to become that. Chris Finch. So this, if you don't know, is the T-Wolves coach. I think he's okay, but I'm gonna go C probably. I don't think he's a bad coach. I don't think he's like the reason that they're struggling. I think that player inconsistency is the reason.
He can't help when guys shoot inconsistently.
But I don't have much to say about him. I don't watch enough T-Wolves basketball. I don't know. He seems like an okay coach to me.
Yeah.
His inbound plays at the end of games do suck though.
That is true.
How they only have one guy cutting to the ball.
And it's stuff. Like a bunch of off-ball movement. Like, is that just players not knowing what to do, or is it like just him just be like, you all stand over here or whatever?
So Doc Rivers is the next one. He's Philadelphia's coach, and he won the Celtics a world championship. Where do you put him? I know where I put him.
I go B.
Yeah, that's where I was going to put him.
He's not as good of a coach as people give him credit for.
I don't think he's as good of a coach as people give him credit for.
He's had some great rosters.
Yeah, great rosters. He's like, it seems like all the guys like him.
Yeah, I love Doc. Don't get me wrong. It's just I don't think he's as good of a coach as people give credit for, and as a part of some of the biggest collapses in NBA history. He's lost multiple, like 3-1, 3-2
Probably
leads.
should have won a title when he was with Lob City. Those rosters were so talented.
Yeah.
Dwayne Casey, Detroit Pistons.
D or C.
For me, he's got to be in a C, and I probably put him over here because he's done more than these guys. You know,
True.
like with those Raptors teams, he can't really do much in Detroit with these teams.
That is true, and it's like he
C.
can't help like that. I do kind of blame him though for like collapsing against LeBron.
Yeah,
like it just felt like they were totally unprepared.
But it's tough because he leaves and they win a championship, but LeBron also left. So
yes,
it's like
it's
it's hard to like
getting
blame.
Kawhi. He didn't have Kawhi, obviously.
Spoelstra,
S.
you think he's S tier?
I think so.
Yeah,
he has teams like
he's got to be S tier.
Like even with those teams, like with late D Wade and stuff.
I feel like he's gonna be the bottom of my S tier though.
I would agree though. But yeah, taking into consideration. Obviously, like he had LeBron and everything, but like he has had some teams make the playoffs that like
and
with
then they made the
old
finals
D Wade
too.
And stuff going to the finals in the bubble. Yeah.
Okay, we got the Lakers coach right here. He's a B for me.
Yeah.
I just
the Indiana teams. He was great.
Vogel, he's a good coach, and like. I gotta put him.
It's tough with the
Lakers. Is he above
Lakers.
Doc? I think he is for me.
I don't know. With the Lakers, it's tough because of like how much an influence obviously LeBron has.
Is, yep.
And everything. Next is Pop.
Is this right now? Because like right now, it's like right here.
If right now, then we gotta put Dwayne Casey in D.
Yeah, but like, I mean, just out of respect, you just gotta put him in the S tier, right? Like. I think he's an S tier coach, like in the league. Like when you just think of, he's just an S tier coach to me. Yeah. Is this Borregos? Is that his name? He's the Hornets coach. I think he goes like here for me.
He goes top B. He's done a great job of, like playing with the roster that he has, making them play the right way.
And he plays to their strengths. A lot of their stuff is high flying, fast.
The only concern that the only problem I have is that he doesn't use Hayward enough to slow things down. But he does do a great job of like what Van Gundy should have done with New Orleans and just make them get out and run.
Yep, for sure. Jason Kidd, he's the Dallas Mavs coach. I know he ruined Giannis's jump shot.
Yeah. I would go C.
I'm probably going like bottom of C, maybe like above this guy.
Yeah.
Chris Finch. He's had this is his third head coaching job now. Yeah. He had to go back to the assistant coaching jobs.
Well, are we talking about this season or just in general?
Probably like but it's hard to not use his past too because it's just.
Do you want to just use this season?
I guess we can go this season because he's a C for me. Like
C. Dwayne Casey's got to be a D.
If it's just this season, then Pop's got to be a B.
Yeah, I would go Borrego A.
Yeah, he's probably an A for sure. Like, if this is like Coach of the Year,
I might put Spoelstra as an A then.
Look, we're gonna change this up. Coach of the Year is the top, and we're just gonna go down from there. Okay, Bickerstaff's got to be top of B for me.
Top of B,
maybe bottom of
A. He's got this team playing awesome.
Yeah,
like we thought that it was a joke, the lineup that they were rolling.
Yeah.
But
who is this?
It's the Thunder coach.
Oh, the Thunder's coach. See, this one that I didn't know.
Luke Walton D got fired.
He's just D.
Alvin Gentry's been a coach for like 4 games, so can't really tell.
Whatever. The Thunder coach for me is just like a C. Like just
they're playing better.
They are playing better than they should. Maybe I'll just put him up here.
Yeah, they're playing.
Do you think he's a B?
No, they're playing better than they should be. But yeah,
a lot of people aren't happy with Vogel. He might be a C.
Yeah, he does start DeAndre Jordan, so I would go C.
C. Malone is an S tier coach.
Yep.
Just out of respect, I just love.
He
Malone.
can't he's just had to deal with so many injuries and stuff, and is getting guys to play hard and everything. Yeah. But yeah,
Bud. He just won a title. I gotta go A out of respect. Probably right here for me.
For this year, yeah.
And it's hard to not obviously we're just saying this year, but he just won a title.
Yeah.
And he did prove us wrong with the ability to make adjustments, you know.
Monty
is an S.
Easy.
These aren't really much of an order for me. He's probably my coach of the year right now. Yeah. So he's an S. Nate McMillan. He's a good coach.
The way that he turned them around, I would go bottom of or A.
I'm probably going bottom of A.
Yeah.
I don't think he's above the Cavs because they've overachieved.
They've overachieved ridiculously.
Nick Nurse.
I would
like
go
Nick Nurse a lot.
B.
Top of B?
Yeah. I can't put him in A.
This year, but I think if you were going off of just like them as a coach, if they all had the same roster, I think he's probably an A for me. But
yeah, because he's like pulls some just crazy stuff out. Like
his stuff's fun.
Yeah, I agree.
If you know defenses and know basketball, you really can.
He's starting out like boxing ones and stuff, and it's like, holy, this is actually working or whatever. Yeah. But I would put him a B this year.
Quinn Snyder, I'm gonna go A.
Yeah.
Is that controversial?
I don't know. I don't think so. Just, although...
Has he been worse than these guys? I feel like he's been better than
I was going to say up.
To an S?
They're at the top of the West still, but like...
Mike Malone, too, if it's just this year, I mean, he just hasn't had a roster. I got to keep him up there. He just hasn't had a roster to coach, you know?
But, like, Utah is playing good, so... Top of A.
I also don't want to put him in S because I'm going to put Steve Kerr in S.
Yep.
He's been great. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously Steve Kerr. If you followed anything about basketball and the Warriors lately, you know Steve Kerr is up there. Rick Carlisle with the Pacers is hard because they've just been in such a slump with their roster lately. But I'm probably just gonna go B, to be honest.
I would put
lower than that or higher.
I think that's a good spot.
They haven't done. He has a lot of talent on that roster. They just haven't done much. I might put him at the bottom of B. Honestly. Steven Silas, I'm going don't know because I don't want to. At least that's me.
He's been dealt such an unfair.
He was supposed to come in and be the coach that changed what the Rockets did to try and make a title run with James Harden and Westbrook, and then they just Harden decided he didn't want to play for them anymore and just blew it up.
Yeah, so, it's tough. Like, give it a while.
I don't know. I've heard weird things about them wanting to fire him and stuff.
Yeah, which is
weird.
Tough, but yeah. Steve Nash,
it's probably
top of B.
He's done good this year, but I'm just going to go top of B. I just don't think he's as good of a coach as these guys, but he's definitely the closest one out of this group, I think, this year.
Yes.
I mean, one of the best teams in the conference, though.
But, still...
I'm going to put him at the bottom of this, actually. I've been thinking about this. I think McMillan's ahead of him.
Okay.
This is Taylor Jenkins.
He's got to be up.
You think he's ahead of Steve Nash?
Yes.
I just don't think he's an A-tier coach this year, personally.
He's got the team playing great. I'd put him at B, top of B, for sure.
So let's save our two coaches for the last two.
Okay.
This year, T. Lue is a B, but I just got to put him in the A. 'Cause he's one of the best coaches in the league.
With the adjustments, that he's one of the best coaches in the league just at making adjustments so quick. Yeah. I think it takes a lot of other coaches
at least a half,
multiple games to do what he did against Utah.
Yeah. It goes small, 5 guards on the court.
I'd put him in A.
He's got to be an A-tier coach. And actually, I'm going to be honest with you. I got to move him down.
Okay.
If he's in D, I'm going to have to move him down too. He can stay. Tom Thibodeau. I like Tibbs a lot.
He did adjust.
He did start Alec Burks. I'm going to go here. Is that okay?
Yeah.
And what do you think about Ime?
I would go middle B.
Middle of B, right here?
Yeah. He's been good, obviously, at getting them to play hard, better ball movement and stuff. He can't help that they can't shoot. But some of his rotations have been kind of questionable. Some dudes' playing times have been kind of weird. But I also think that that's a new coach thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's got this team playing way harder than last year.
Yeah,
Top 5 defensive team. He's got to be in B for me.
Yeah, Tibbs is the top of B for me because he won Coach of the Year last year, and obviously if we're just going off this year, it's different. But he's showing the ability to make changes, and he's playing the young guys a lot more. Obi's getting a lot more minutes, so I have been really happy with Tibbs lately. I wouldn't quite put him in the A with these coaches.
Yeah.
And I also do, when I look at this list, how many guys above him would I rather have, Yeah. Most likely, yes. I'm a toss-up, but this year, probably yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Toss-up. Toss-up. Yes. 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 Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, that's kind of why I have him here. I probably wouldn't want him over Tibbs, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So this is what I think the list is.
I agree.
Maybe this D he's hard because it's his first year. I think as their head coach.
I think so.
And so it's hard. Obviously, take it or leave it. It's whatever.
Yep.
This is just this year, so like obviously all time pop would be up there like we had earlier in the episode. Yeah. But yeah, this is just our thoughts. Hope you liked the episode.
Yep.
We'll return on Monday.
Yep. Like and subscribe. Check out the TikTok. Share. Leave a comment. Anything like that. Give us suggestions, like criticisms, anything. We want to hear from you guys. Share it with everyone if you enjoy. Peace.
Yep. Peace out.